I think there's a setting in the default vim. I think it's line-based. I do think you can restore the character positions. While I do that, I have in my complicated vim config, it does something like that to remember where the cursor was in every file I've ever opened. Something like that.
So what does lowercase g do?
It's command starting with G.
You can typically use it like 1G will take you to the first line, or 20G will take you to line 20.
Yeah, G is like one of those really overused commands because it does a whole bunch of like GT takes you to a new tab, I think, and G question mark apparently does a ROT 13 encoding.
Cool.
What?
Yeah, so we're gonna try that. Yes, it does. Great, we got at least 2 or 3 Vim users in the room, we got VI users in the room that didn't know that that was there. I didn't know it was there either. I just read the
I'm
comment.
sorry, that sounds Emacs, kind of.
Now how do you change it back?
You ROT 13 again.
What are you gonna do?
Is this a symmetrical process or is it?
ROT 13 is symmetrical, yes. ROT 13 is substituting every letter with letter 13 positions in the front, wrapping around at the end.
Oh, okay.
Also known as Caesar's encryption algorithm. That was crazy. Okay, back to the list. So G as itself doesn't do anything unless it's prefixed with a number, so that's like the only part that's.
All right, so what does 5G do for us in our edit?
5G does nothing. But if you press it one more time.
What does
uppercase G?
5 capital G do?
Okay, well, how would I do like 5,000 since we have all these lines in here?
You have 5,000 lines?
Yes.
Yes.
I would just
Oh,
put down.
it does have 5,000 lines.
It was useful. I figured it was a good number of lines.
Okay, so what did you do?
I typed 5,000 and then uppercase G.
Okay, which supposedly takes us to the 5,000th line.
And it's actually showing that at the bottom, I think.
Yes, we have line 5,000 down here, column 1. We've seen 0%, we're looking at 0% of the file at this point.
How?
Okay, so a number followed by a capital G will take you to that line number. This is really useful if you're programming and you've gotten a compiler error that says error on line 25. You go back in your editor, you do 25, capital G, and it'll take you right to line 25, and you can say, oh, I forgot a semicolon. A capital G by itself will take you to the variant file,
Which you've been to a couple times already. There you go.
so here we go all the way at the bottom of the file, on line number 500. 011. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. What does H do? Dylan, you like H.
H goes left.
Show us.
Okay, and I'm going to go to the end of the line by hitting the E a bunch of times. Or apparently that's only one word. And then I'm hitting H. And then L goes to the end of the line. And basically, it's one of the cursor keys, because the cursor keys are H, which goes left, J, which goes down, K, which goes up, and L, which goes right, which my 10-year-old son finds very confusing.
Yeah, I agree.
L goes.
That.
I agree. The advantages of using those 4 keys, H, J, K, and L, is that those are home keys for the left hand. So you can use those without moving your hand from the keyboard. You can use those without moving your fingers from the home row.
Aren't those the board start keys?
Probably.
J has a bump on it as well, so it's easy to find. J is like, yeah, J and F are your 2 start keys when you're learning to properly type. If you've ever learned how to properly type.
The one downside is that you have to remember for movement that the J goes on the middle finger, not on your index.
Yeah.
As with normal type.
If you are using a true VI implementation, you'll find that you have to use those keys most likely. A lot of the true original VI implementations do not support the cursor keys. They don't support the arrow keys. The home, the page up, the page down, Yes, Chachki?
If you have an extra fun version of the IE Solaris, the arrow keys will work in command mode, but when you're in insert mode, they'll put crap into the file.
Yes.
Control characters. So it's always a nice frustrating thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to type and then I'm going to move, and suddenly I'm deleting a bunch of lines.
I've encountered this myself on a number of occasions. You may also find if your terminal is not set correctly, possibly because you've taken a typewriter and plugged a serial cable into it and plugged it into something else and then plugged it into the keyboard port of your machine and then telnet it into another box, and from there you've SSH'd into the server you're actually trying to work on, and you don't have proper arrow keys, you may find yourself having to rely on these J, K, L, and H to move around in the file you're in. Or in a slightly different situation if you've pulled up, basically if you're accessing something via a serial table, you may find this happen a lot of times.
I'm trying to simulate that problem by screwing up.
No, don't simulate that problem. Please, folks, just take my word on it. Don't let him simulate the problem. We don't need an example. If you do this, you'll break everything. Now we'll spend far too long trying to fix it. All right, we're going to try this out, aren't we, Dylan?
Try what out?
All back? All back?
No, I didn't.
Okay. You have G, H, J, K, and L. So we got I. I is for insert.
C is
If we're in our file,
we're in file.
and we got our cursor somewhere around here, maybe.
Okay.
Well, we can do that up there. Start in the middle of the line if you would, please.
Okay.
And Dylan presses I. That's going to start inserting inserting before the cursor. So we can type I, and we can start typing, and we have good morning Vietnam. Excellent. If we type a capital I, we go back to the command mode by pressing escape, then type a capital I, it's going to insert at the beginning of the line. Jumps the cursor all the way back. So you can easily be typing, having been typing something, and you say, oh, you know what? I should have started the line out with this. I need to go ahead and start back there. You do have to be careful sometimes. White space. Certain implementations ignore the white space when you're inserting, and they don't begin at the beginning of the line. They begin after the first white space character. And I've seen some versions where it does start at the white space character.
Try pressing I again now.
So this in this configuration, it didn't go to the beginning line. That's the beginning of the.
Fun another tidbit: if you're on one of those ancient horrible boxes, you need to know the A key, because if you use I, you cannot insert a character at the end of the line. Because by moving into insert mode, you lose the ability to use the arrow keys.
So A.
So you'll dump crap into your file unless you're at A.
I, J, K, L, M. Or I covered M basically. N. Whoever covers search.
N repeats a search.
So we have covered search.
If we are looking, do me a favor. Do you have some kind of sample text? More involved sample text that we can bring into an editor?
Open up your password file, Dylan.
Maybe some song lyrics, or Shakespeare,
I got a file.
or the Bible.
Being recorded, I should.
Lawrence.
I got my MRC file. Copy that over.
Okay, we can do that.
Except I need to rename that, otherwise we won't read it next time. It'll be kind of crazy now. There we go. So, nice big text file.
Okay. What we're doing? We're doing searches. All right. So
How to
let's
search.
say that we want to
Actually,
search.
let's start with Sam. He'll make less assumptions. Hi, Sam. Hit shift on the keyboard to make sure it's awake. Okay.
Okay. So let's say that we want to search for the word end. We're jumping out of order in the cheat sheet that I had, but if Sam types a /, and you'll see the / has come up here. This is how you start a search. So we've done /, it's not, and we're not going to specify the text that we want to search for. And then you type end, E-N-D, and then you hit enter. It's going to search for the string end, and it's going to move the cursor there. So we move from up here down here, end, try. It's that easy. Just do a / and what you're searching for. You can repeat a search by pressing a lowercase n. So we move from this end to this end. If we do another n, it'll repeat the same search, and we'll go there. If we do a capital N, it should reverse the search. So it searched backwards from this end to this end, back to this end, and now we're just going back and forth to very many ends.
Which probably occurred in the file.
To the many ends.
To many, many ends. To end the try, to end before, to end the end. What's next? N. O. O is open. O is a great one.
O is my favorite command.
Right, so we have the cursor here. Yes, go ahead and escape.
If you mistype the search term, you might end up going to no end.
There's a command for going back from where you started the search from as well, but that's later.
Okay, O is a great, great option. O opens a line at the cursor. So if you type in O, he's looking for the O.
There's some letters on the keyboard.
I need a flashlight. Sorry.
Oh, I believe it's this character.
Nope. Hit escape. Hit escape. Okay. Now hit O. There you go.
So if you type in O, it opens a new line
Right.
and enters insert mode. So if Sam types now anything he wants to type, we're going to find that text appear. So if you're writing code and you've written a command, perhaps this call make dir command, and you said, you know what, I need to add some more commands in there. You bring your cursor back up to that line using the arrow keys, and you do a lowercase o. It'll open a new line after this line. And you can type in the new commands.
There is
You can continue to type on here.
Now, can you have it split and do a new line in the middle of the line?
To do that, you'll have to use insert or append.
Oh, okay.
But if you use a type stop and hit escape for me, please. And now if you do a capital O,
Capital what?
capital O,
Didn't do.
Escape, escape.
There you go, I did it.
it will open a line before the current line. So we can lowercase o to open the line after and capital O to open the line before. All right, we're using the other keyboard. So this lets you do the same thing. You keep typing, you can open the line before, you can open the line after. Great stuff. P is to put. Let's come back to put. Q, I don't know what Q does.
Records a macro.
How do we switch? Q does macros. Let's leave macros for another time because we're kind of running out of time here. Can you switch us back to the cheat sheet? I believe that a couple of capital Qs.
Sorry.
Qs are empty.
Quits. No, there's not. All right.
Uppercase Z does save it.
R will replace the character under the cursor, and a capital R will enter replace mode until we exit. So let's go back to our file. And Sam, that's great. Could you type W, and we'll jump forward one word, and type R, and type a letter K. So we replaced the S with K. Not very exciting stuff, really. Could you go ahead and type a capital R? And that's put us in insert mode, I think. And go ahead and type some stuff. And we should find that it replaces all of the text that we have on the line until we exit replace mode by hitting escape. Perfect. S is substitute, which is very similar to R, but if you enter substitute, I think it's just as the one character, and then a capital S will do it to the entire line. Let's try it out. So Sam, find somewhere that you'd like to type around. Maybe up a couple lines. Sure. And then go ahead and do a lowercase s and type some stuff. Okay. So we started off this line with runtime. We hit S and we replace that R with some stuff. And if you do a capital S, that should have
Press
us.
escape?
Yes, hit escape. And then a capital S, and that should have us replace the entire line. It's going to substitute new text for the entire line. Okay. After that comes T.
Which is like F.
Escape again, right?
Yes. And hit escape.
It's not showing if you're in insert mode anymore. I wonder what changed.
Yeah, I'm wondering that myself.
So I copied it in my RC file because there wasn't one there to begin with. Alright, so
T. Okay, T is one that I wasn't familiar with. T apparently finds a character on the current line going forward and stop one character before it. And capital T finds a character on the current line going backward and stop one character before it. So that was very similar to F and F. Yeah.
So it says one character before it instead of what is it for F?
On the character.
On the character. So it's before versus on.
Right. So when we were doing that search for the underscores, when we started, it would move the cursor right before the underscore.
So if I wanted to change just the word between the underscores, I would use T. Because I could type like
Yes.
CT underscore and change just the word in between the underscores. If I was at the beginning.
Yes.
It doesn't consider the underscores part of the word.
Yeah, well, it's a motion that means
Motion.
until the T. It means until the underscore. Yeah. Because it's going to consider the underscore part of the word for the normal word things.
Okay. Next comes U, which is one of those things we could have started a lot sooner, but U is for undo. It undoes the last command, the last edit that you made. Capital U apparently undoes all commands on one line. If we go back to our editor, and if Sam, who has, well, frankly, he's made a pretty big mess of this file. If you hit
Yes, I
escape,
did.
if you hit escape, to make sure we're in command mode, and then you hit U, it'll undo the last change that we made, which was the substitution. And in Vim, you have a long-running undo buffer. Keeps track of all the changes you've made for quite a while back.
Well, they can't just keep on pressing U.
Actually, you can.
Except you can't right now.
Are we in compatible mode?
Probably.
Okay. So in Vim, in the standard Vim you get, it keeps a long-running undo buffer. In true VI, it keeps track of one change.
Is that technically anything? No.
So I don't know what's going on here. So if you're in Vim, you can usually do a U, and undo, keep undoing changes. So if, for example, you're working on your master's thesis and you forgot to save, and you got up to go get some tea, and your cat came and decided to walk all over your keyboard and did something to your
Personal experience?
thesis, something to your thesis that you don't know what the heck is going on, you can just hit U and undo those changes until you get back to a state that's functional. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. All right. So if we go back to our cheat sheet, after U comes
I was making
V.
changes.
which is the visual block selection or visual line selection that Chuck was talking about earlier. And I kind of think I should make him come up and talk about it.
Now, the last time my cat walked on my keyboard, she
about
ripped
it.
off the U key, so.
So you can't undo it then?
I don't know what to tell you.
Use
Actually, I
Spark.
do know what to tell you about that. Because EX mode has other ways you can do that. What were we? V. Okay. Sam, if you could go ahead and hit the V key here.
V key where?
Where you are.
On the keyboard.
That's fine.
And
You
showing
see the
us-
word down here? We've got visual. Now, if you use, for example, the arrow keys to move around, it is highlighting blocks of text.
And you could use normal movement commands like F and T
Exactly. You can use
or W.
F and T or W to increase or decrease his selection. And then you can do stuff with the visual block. For example, if you type DD now, it
So
should
just
delete
one D, just one.
the block of text that he had highlighted. And if you hit U to undo that,
Do you need to press escape?
Yes.
Sure.
And then you. If you type, that's another G command, by the way. I know this G command, GB. Will redo the V.
really?
Oh, that's cool.
GB.
Yeah. It redoes whatever you previously had selected. So, I mean, if you had a block of text selected, and then you did something to it, and then you undid it, and you want to do something else to it, you type GB, and it's selected, again, whatever you previously had selected. G is basically the catch-all of all strange commands.
Be careful.
So after V comes W, which we explored earlier was word. Move forward one word. If Sam would be good enough to demonstrate for us, moving forward one word. X
Considers
is
the dot like a word.
considers what?
The dot.
Yes, it does.
Or should I say stop?
But if you do a capital W, it's going to ignore, it should ignore the punctuation. Actually, it is.
Ignore the comma, but the periods are their own words because they have spaces on either side of them.
Yeah. So it doesn't ignore them. That answers that question.
And if you'd be good enough to do a V, I think, to take us out of visual mode. Yes. Okay. Where's our cursor? Hey, that's perfect. Now we come to X. A lowercase x will delete after the cursor. So we deleted the, or actually